Welcome to southern Utah. This burnt orange, sweltering landscape is home to just over 200,000 people, with St. George at its heart. Settlers entered the area in 1861. While the native Paiute people have been here well before the settlers, the native flora and fauna outdate even them. The desert tortoise, jumping chala, and chuckawalla all have called this place home. The orange landscape marks the northwest corner of the Mojave Desert and the southernmost point in the Great Basin, and makes that fact known every April. Consistently hitting temperatures in the 110s with monsoons, flash floods, and constant severe winds, this area seems to reject all life, but
life finds a way.
That way is a fascinating adaptations, evolutions, and habits among the flora, fauna, and soil itself.
When imagining the Mojave Desert, ideas of a flat, barren wasteland where only cacti, sagebrush, and the occasional tumbleweed thrive are probably most common. While there's plenty of that here, it ignores the hundreds of other life forms that have carved out their own niche to make this wasteland a paradise. The usual suspects of mountainous deserts can be found easily, like the mountain lion, bobcat, coyote, mule deer, and jackrabbits. But there are also some special ones like the beaver, desert kangaroo rat, and many bat species. The conversation around the Red Cliffs National Conservation Area tends to center around one animal in particular, the desert tortoise. Considered endangered since 1996, their population began to dwindle as cattle ate the few species of plants the tortoise feeds on, and encroaching city limits pushed them farther from their traditional habitat. Much of the northern corridor is designated as a conservation space specifically for these tortoises and their preferred diet. Their numbers have been climbing due to the concerted effort of many ecologists and zoologists. The desert tortoise is not alone, as spiny softshell turtles, as well as the red-eared slider, can also be found in this land. The arid, rocky landscape and the abundance of plants and bushes have made this desert quite undeserted. Lizards, in particular, thrive and enjoy the sunny summers and moderate winters. Some standouts include the occasionally lost Gila monster, and native favorites like the chuckwalla, desert horned lizard, yellowback spiny lizard, plateau striped whiptail, western banded gecko, and western skink. Their presence keeps the bugs and scorpion populations in check, as well as feeds the other predators who live here too. Present alongside the lizards, but much harder to find, are the area's snakes. The northern corridor hosts only two native venomous snakes, the Great Basin rattlesnake and the Mojave Desert sidewinder, as well as other visiting rattlesnakes. Hikers and explorers are typically safe during the day, so there's little to worry about if you find yourself face to face with most snakes, though admire them from a distance. Some beautiful non-venomous critters include the California king snake, Sonoran mountain king snake, lyre snake, and ringle ringneck snake, though there are others. Now, if you're more interested in looking up in wonder than down in fear, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better place to observe as many birds of prey as in the northern corridor. Spending a day and night bird watching could get you a glimpse of a bald eagle, golden eagle, red-tailed hawk, Swainson's hawk, black hawk, Cooper's hawk, sharp-shined hawk, peregrine falcon, prairie falcon, merlin, American kestrel, northern harrier, turkey vulture, great horned owl, long-eared owl, western screech owl, barn owl, burrowing owl, great blue heron, and the famous greater roadrunner, alongside many more peaceful birds who inhabit the treetops and cactus. Just because it's a desert doesn't mean frogs, toads, and even salamanders don't want to enjoy some time in the sun. The canyon tree and Pacific chorus frog, red-spotted southwestern and woodhouse's toad, and the tiger salamander all thrive in the rivers, creeks, and reservoirs that dot the landscape. When imagining the expansive Mojave Desert, plant life is rarely the first thing that comes to mind. Perhaps images of tumbleweeds rolling vast expanses, with the occasional cactus breaking the flat horizon line, but that is not the case for the northeastern Mojave. Due to the leftover nutrients from Lake Bonneville and slightly more agreeable spring times, some plants have been able to adapt and support themselves. Species of tree, shrub, wildflower, and of course cacti all managed to hold on. Species include the Fremont cottonwood, honey mesquite, pinyon pine, Utah juniper, banana yucca, bitterbrush, blackbrush, broom snakeweed, creosote bush, desert sage, indigo bush, brigham tea, old man sand sagebrush, rubber rabbit brush, shrub live oak, Utah yucca, desert trumpet, common paintbrush, desert globe mallow, desert marigold, firecracker, penstemon, 4 o'clock, sago lily, and the spectacle pod. And the cactus include the cholla, the cordpantha, Engelmann prickly-pear, common fishhook cactus, purple torch, and the silver cholla.
Zooming in on the area just north of St. George, we find ourselves in the Red Cliffs National Conservation Area. Made entirely of deep burnt orange sandstone vistas, it is an arid land that seems offended anytime something chooses to live on it, but that hasn't stopped anything now or even millions of years ago. In those ancient times, St. George was the muddy edge of the once gargantuan Lake Bonneville. These conditions created a hotspot of dinosaur activity, making St. George home to not only many dig sites, but also multiple preserved dinosaur footprints. As time passed, the lake receded, leaving a salt-encrusted, yet still nutrient-rich landscape behind. Beautiful white streaks through bluffs mark the passing of ancient times. As the pioneers came west to settle this land, they brought what they needed. Plants that became invasive, animals that didn't belong, and the delicate landscape soon came under threat. Since 2006, lawmakers have been pushing for the development of a highway that would cut directly through the wild landscape for which the St. George area is renowned. Conservation groups, such as Conserve Southwest Utah and the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance, have been able to stop these attempts several times. But the fight continues as more groups become involved and the government becomes more creative with its tactics. There is a lot to know about the state of public lands in our area, but first we should explain what exactly it is we're trying to protect. What many fail to realize about proposals like the Northern Corridor Highway proposal is that it is not just a road. When we pave through wilderness like this one, the effects don't stay on that pavement. We have seen in the past, in past wildfires that the area's had, we can have thousands of acres burned down just from a popped tire. In 2020, we had the Turkey Farm Road wildfire, which burned down 12,000 acres of land, severely harmed the wildlife and the plant life, and we paid $2.8 million to deal with that issue. It's not cheap for humans. It's certainly not cheap for the animals and plants that live here. And the area has been working to recover from that for years now. And it's getting better. It's getting better. But it won't stay that way if we allow it to be developed over. When you allow human traffic to go straight through a desert like this, so dry, so prone to fires, you're inviting a whole host of issues that may not immediately come to you when you're thinking about, oh, it's just a road. Well, it's not just a road. It's not just a road, and we know that. Furthermore, several experts have suggested better alternatives to the Northern Corridor Highway that would be more effective at solving traffic issues in the St. George area and certainly cause less harm to the wildlife. I'm not claiming to be one of those experts myself. I'm not. I'm just a college kid who cares a lot about this stuff. But I think if you live here, if you love it here, if you care about the environment at all, if you live anywhere and love going outdoors, this is a really serious issue that we need to be fighting against. And we might have to fight against it forever. We might have to keep pushing back against lawmakers over and over because they've repeatedly shown that just because an area is protected doesn't mean they care to protect it. They want to pave over it, and we have to fight against that maybe for the rest of time. So I hope you'll choose to, because it's really important. It's really important for the wildlife here, for the people here, everyone here. We need to be really serious about this kind of stuff. We can't allow a precedent like that. Paving over protected land? Okay, what does protected even mean then? You know, we have to care about what these things mean and what these things do. And so I hope you'll look more into this and you'll care about this in the future. You can check the Conserve Southwest Utah website for a ton of information on this. They have been super helpful on this issue for me personally and also for the whole area. So I hope you'll look into it. And I hope you'll join me in caring about this. As the Washington County area continues to grow in population, it is vital that we fight for sustainable practices that enable that growth without allowing the best parts of the land to be bulldozed in the process. Citizens cannot allow themselves to go uninformed about what is happening in their own backyard. By staying involved in our community and its public lands, we can ensure the continued survival of the state's most vulnerable plants and critters.